The young lady that you see down at the bottom is my intern UDA, aka Pop Culture Fangirl. She's running my Bourbon Bougie 2023 page. So if you're on TikTok, can you go over there and support her? Here she is doing an analysis of the Netflix show Fairplay. She's doing a really good job doing the analysis of pop culture movies and series. So definitely check her out and support over on TikTok if you can. Thanks.
I'm back. You guys are loving the Carrie series. Don't worry, I'll have one out next week, and then I think the week after that I'll do the Beware of the Homosexual. If you haven't seen any of those, go check them out. They're super fun. I love making them, and I love the comments. Keep commenting, keep giving feedback. Also, if you're on YouTube, go follow the Bourbon Bougie's backup page on TikTok. I'll link it up here, or I'll not link it, but I'll put the @ up there. If you guys can get me to 10K followers on this account, then I can start making playlists, and I'll have more ability to do like more creative things with this account. I'm having a lot of fun, and I want you guys to be a part of the journey. So follow, like, share, and get engaged. If you're like, who is this girl talking? I'm UDA. I'm part of the Bourbon Bougie team. I'm here to talk about women in pop culture and TV and film. Today I'm switching it up and we're doing a movie analysis. So Burb talked about this movie last year on her page. It was like October, maybe 9th. And she did not go into too much detail because she didn't want to spoil it. But obviously I'm doing a deep dive today, so there's going to be spoilers. I also want to give a trigger warning for DV and SA. We have our two main characters up here. This, if you guys recognize this girl, she's from the first season of Bridgerton. This guy, I don't really recognize him, but I think that he was in another like big project. Their characters' names are Emily and Luke, and they are in a relationship. They also both work at the same company. It's like a hedge fund type of thing. So the movie starts at Luke's brother's wedding. They're talking with family, they're dancing, they're having fun. They run off into the bathroom and they're getting intimate in the bathroom, and they have to stop because of Emily's menstrual cycle. And as Luke is cleaning himself up, an engagement ring falls out of his pocket. She's like, what is that? He's like, I didn't want to do it this way, but now you've already seen it. So he proposes to her in the bathroom and they leave. They're happy, they're having fun. So the next day, they get up for work and they lead it separately. Emily leaves the ring. They take different trains and different routes to get to work. When they arrive at work, they pretend to be just co-workers and nothing more. They do this because at the company they work at, it's against policy to date peers. One of their higher-ups has a very public firing and meltdown. He takes a golf club and starts smashing everything. He's screaming expletives. It's very chaotic. I mean, this guy was already getting fired, but I just was thinking like, and women are called the emotional ones. He literally was like breaking property and vandalizing the workplace. And they don't really talk anything about it. I'm going to guess that nothing happened to him other than getting fired. Like, he still has his reputation, X, Y, and Z. If women even express one emotion that isn't happiness or joy, or one emotion that her male peers will accept, then we're judged, we're called names, we're called emotional, we're unstable all of a sudden because we cried once at work in the bathroom. Oh, don't want to rock the boat. So we're back at their apartment. Luke and Emily seem happier than ever. One, they're getting married, and two, it was rumored that he was going to get a promotion because, obviously one of their higher ups was fired. The next morning, their boss calls Emily 6 times at 3 a.m. She finally picks up the phone. She goes to meet the boss at it's like a speakeasy. When she sits down, their shared boss intimidates her a little bit, and then he proceeds to list all of her accomplishments. And I don't know if this is like a thing in the business world or like a negging in the business world, but it was just super weird to me that like at first he's like trying to scare her, and then he's like, oh, well, you graduated from Harvard. Emily learns that she's getting the promotion instead of Luke. Emily arrives back home, and her first instinct is to coat her promotion with an apology to her fiance. She gets a promotion that will change her life, and her first move is to placate her partner's feelings. We are it's not her fault. We are so ingrained in patriarchy to the point where our first step is to cater to a man. She has this big accomplishment that she does, and her thing is like, no, I need to go and make sure that my fiance is okay with this. She doesn't even get time to celebrate within herself. There's a scene where she walks into the office after her promotion, And the shot is her walking, and then it's just a bunch of her male counterparts, and they're all glaring at her. And also, I'd like to point out that the director of this film is a woman. And I think that she did such a beautiful job capturing that essence of envy. So it's just her walking, and then all the men are staring at her. It's like almost animalistic, like a lion with its prey, except they don't even realize that she is a lion because now she's all of their bosses. Of course, the gossip begins right away, and the men discuss amongst themselves how she must have slept her way to the top. That whole like sleeping your way to the top, that thing is so stupid to me, seriously. Because why is there even an opportunity for people to use X and their bodies to get a higher up position in a job? There shouldn't even be a thing that can happen. You know what I mean? There shouldn't be a way that can happen at all. Of course, because she's a woman, the men think she couldn't possibly be smarter than them. She couldn't possibly have earned the job because of her hard work over the past few years. Luke, her partner, seems visibly upset by this talk by the other men. It's almost like he's believing it. The promotion was more than fine when he was supposed to be getting it. They celebrated that night, they had drinks, but now he's working directly under his fiance. The most insulting part about this is that he didn't even think she was in the running with him. He thought he was up here and that she was down here. He didn't think in any capacity or in a million years that she was going to get the promotion over him. He's not even in the same ballpark as her. He was hired as a favor hire, while she was hired and promoted because of her skill. That night when she talked to her boss before he told her about the promotion, he talks about how she went to Harvard and she was published by the Wall Street Journal at 17. She is more than qualified for this position. His behavior changes quickly. The next day she finds him in a bar, drowning his sorrows. He pretends that he's not, and she tells him to leave. At work, she gives him another assignment because she is his boss, and he basically laughs at her. So she's gotten this new promotion, obviously more responsibility. And while she's doing this, she's also trying to get her fiance to move up. She's talking good about him to the bosses, and two of her bosses tell her that he was a favor hire and that he actually cost the company 15 million last month. Now Luke begins to alienate affection. It's all a pattern, ladies. Stay sharp. Be taking notes. Look for the red flags. I do these series, I do these analysis, even though they're TV and they're film. This stuff happens in real life all the time. And if you can clock it right away, then it'll be more beneficial to you than rather you wait and you're in a long-term relationship and then all his flaws and red flags come rushing at you. Then he starts doing workouts late at night. And I've noticed this is a thing that a lot of men do. Instead of going to therapy and, working out their problems or like trying to get to the root of the issue, they'll just go to the gym. And the thing about the gym, yeah, they're helping their mental health a little bit and they're bulking and they're eating healthy and stuff. But usually they still hold a ton of resentment and anger because they never got to the root of that problem. It's like putting shampoo in the rest of your hair, but not putting it in the root. You're not getting to the root of the problem. It's not going to be fixed. He's reading all these books about finance and how to move up in the company and how to better himself at his job. He tries to pick a fight with Emily by telling her that people will respect her more if she stops dressing like a cupcake. He only says this because, one, he's really low right now, and he wants to drag her down to his level. He wants her to feel how he feels right now. The next day, she shows up to work wearing all black. The night before, they were discussing a stock to buy. They both disagreed on it. So Emily tells Luke, her analyst, to finish his analysis. Instead of finishing what she told him to do, he buys the stock and costs the company $25 million. This is only happening because he thinks that her success is going to stop him from being successful. He thinks of her success as like a dagger pointing at him and ready to charge. I'm going to leave it at that for now. This was the Fairplay analysis part 1. Hi, I'm Yudi. This is the Fairplay analysis part 2. We left off with Luke costing their company $25 million. After this, Emily goes to the store. She purchases some cigs and a pink blouse. Now remember, when Emily came into work, she was wearing all black because of the cupcake comment that Luke made. Her coming back and going to the store and coming back into work with a pink blouse is her taking her power back, her cutting her losses and saying, okay, well, I'm not going to help him anymore because he obviously, one, doesn't want to be helped, and two, is being defiant with me. Because of Luke's F up, her boss calls her into a private room and calls her a stupid effing bitch. I 100% believe that if she was a man, he would have never spoken to her that way. Even if he did speak to her that way, he probably would have called her a bastard. He would have called her something else. But I just think the word bitch is so ingrained in misogyny, and especially a man saying that to a woman, so incredibly like mind blowing that he can speak to her that way. So now Emily is scrambling to fix Luke's mistake while also dealing with the backlash of her male counterpart. I think the director does a great job of showing how isolated Luke is, or how alienated her affection is. In certain parts of the movie, we barely see him. We also don't find out what Luke is actually feeling until the end of the movie because it's coming from Emily's perspective. The audience is watching it through her. They haven't been intimate in weeks, and the one time they try, Luke Jr. cannot rise to the occasion, if you know what I mean. Fixing her fiance's mistake, she makes a big win with the company. So the other men and her bosses come in and they say they're going to take her out to a bar. One of her peers suggests that they go to a strip club in a joking manner. And I think because she didn't want to be seen as like, oh, so she's a woman, she can't hang with the guys, I think she agreed to, just to earn that respect. Like, women have to go through so much to earn men's respect in these communities. And I think that's it's so hard too, because when you're trying to decenter men, but everywhere you look is just patriarchy, misogyny, sexism, this, that. It's so hard to do that. Coming back from the strip club, Emily comes home drunk and she forgets, or she puts in the wrong key to open the door. Luke opens the door for her and they get into this heated argument where he says that she lets their boss walk all over her, and Emily confesses that the only man she lets walk all over her is Luke. And she also tells Luke that they didn't want to promote him, they wanted to fire him. He screams at her that she stole his job. Afterwards, he like disappears. He leaves the apartment. She doesn't know where he is. She calls his brother. She's calling his family member. She doesn't know where he is. So finally, Luke comes to work, but he's belligerent and he interrupts a meeting that Emily and the higher ups are having. He's yelling and he scares off the client. Then he tells everyone that him and Emily have been breaking company policy by being in a relationship together for 2 years. While this is happening, Emily's mom is trying to set up an engagement party for them, but Emily is weary because obviously she's not supposed to be dating him or even be engaged to him. So Luke disappears again, and Emily calls Luke's brother being like, where is he? And his brother is like confused because he's like, at your engagement party, where else would he be? So after he ran off, I think he went somewhere else, and then he went to the engagement party still very, very drunk. Another heated argument boils over at the engagement party, and now all of their friends and family know what Luke thinks. And what he thinks is that she slept her way to the top and stole his job by doing so. We learn that he lies to his family about being promoted with Emily, when in fact he just got fired, or they were waiting to fire him anyway. Okay, stop here if you don't want to hear about SA. Then they take the argument into the bathroom, and then things get actual, and it's consensual at first, but she tells him to stop and he ends up assaulting her. I want us to remember that SA is not about sex, it's about power, and Luke feels like he's lost his power, that he's losing his power, so he tries to assert dominance over her in one of the only ways he knows how, or one of the ways that abusive men know how. Afterwards, we see her applying makeup to the bruise that she got from the assault. Then she comes into work and she lies to her boss about her relationship with Luke. I don't think that the boss actually believes her. I think he's just kind of playing along with it, almost like it's a man's world and we're playing a man's game. I also think that's why the movie is called Fairplay. They hire a new analyst in place of Luke, and she's a woman. The final scene, Luke is talking about starting a hedge fund up with his brother up in California, and Emily is in disbelief because he's not even apologetic or remorseful for what he's done to her and all the turmoil he's put her through these last few weeks. So Emily reminds him that he never stole her power. She picks up a knife and makes Luke beg, apologize, and decree that he's nothing. I think she slices his cheek a little bit too, and we see her drop the knife and it makes like a clink sound. That's how the film ends, and she tells him to pick up the knife and clean up the blood. Men are indoctrinated as well by the patriarchy to be the provider, the breadwinner. They are told that making money is the main thing that they can bring to the table. So when their female partner takes over that role, they sort of have an identity crisis because they've been told all their life, this is what you're valuable for. So they feel like they lose value. In this day and age, women have so much more opportunities than our ancestors have and that the women that came before us have. So it's not uncommon for a woman to be in the breadwinner role. But if a man feels like his value is at stake, his identity is at stake, it can be very dangerous for the women around him, not just the romantic partners around him, but the other women as well. That is all. I hope you guys like this analysis. Like, share, and subscribe. Give me feedback in the comments. Give me things you want to see as well in the comments. Bye.